Welcome to the world of HeroQuest, a place unlike any other. The HeroQuest dungeon is a place of comfort for all of us. Those cozy torchlit stone walls hold a warm, permanent place in our nostalgic hearts. That colorful game board is as familiar as a childhood home. Yet it remains a shapeless clay we can manipulate into countless adventures through the magic of the module door and wall system. But a true hero knows that the reach of Zargon doesn't end at the dungeon gate. Today, we're stepping out of the familiar shadows and into the blinding glare of the surface world. We're preparing to trek across vast, untamed lands and descend into the muddy, winding corridors of the all-new Cavern map. We've already mastered Lizuren's original Uncharted Dungeons and seen how its elegant mechanics grant us the freedom of modular play. Now it's time to push those boundaries further. We're navigating the fresh terrain of the First Light map, guided by a brand new adventure, the Golden Lion. This is the Fair Weatherman. Welcome back to the channel. Last time, we used Lizuren's Uncharted Dungeons deck to bring random generation into the traditional HeroQuest dungeon layout. But today, we're digging into this unique and evolving system. I'll showcase the next deck in this series and demonstrate it on the terrain it was born for, the new First Light Cavern map. The Cavern map is a game changer for this homebrew. While the classic board is legendary, its static rooms can feel restrictive for random generation. First Light's flipside board gives us this beautiful Cavern map. It's hallway heavy and has a few more open zone areas, which is great to randomize your gameplay. The double-sized nature of the First Light board allows us to transition from a dungeon crawl to an underground tomb fight seamlessly. Let's get into this. Just like the last deck, we're using the Fog of War method. Oh, and did I mention the deck comes preloaded with a 12-part campaign, the Golden Lion? This new campaign comes printed within the deck. Lizuren Games has also caught the eye of Pablo from Minis 3D, where they've gone about creating a handful of miniatures that you can get printed and include when you go through the quest book. A next level move that will make this card series stand out from others. Heroes are sent out on a mission to find the lost tomb of Sir Alaric, the Golden Knight. A renowned personal guard to the king, the lost tomb is practically forgotten in the realm. By bringing back his lost artifacts and forgotten relics, they can possibly restore hope to the kingdom. But beware, rumors swirl around a mysterious magic that surrounds his tomb and an evil sorcerer who threatens the realm. What a fun introduction to the simple set of cards that will utilize the one piece of HeroQuest history that will most likely sit idly by and, ironically, forgotten. Here we have a breakdown of everything that's new in this deck. We have the exploration rooms that are now fitted to the First Light Dungeon Caverns map room sizes. We also have secret door and trap cards that are new, like the stalactite trap, as well as the swinging axe trap and the long pit trap. And then also you'll receive some new monster cards in this expansions, monsters from the Frozen Horror and the Mage of the Mirror. And then, like I said before, you have the new campaign, the Golden Lion, which is a 12-part quest. And then new symbols here, First Light symbol. We have the Frozen Horror symbol and the Mage of the Mirror symbol. We have the Quest Clue, which is the card you'll bury before you come across the objective, thus randomizing your homebrew quests. It is noteworthy here too to know that the heroes may randomly determine which piece of furniture to place on the board by rolling one red dice. So you might end up with any of the HeroQuest furniture by just the roll of a simple dice mechanic. I think in the original series, if I remember right, you just placed whatever sized furniture piece fit the space on the game board. So you would use like a fireplace here possibly, or the weapons rack. But in this edition, you're gonna roll a dice to populate the dungeon at random. And I would imagine if that piece of furniture is already being utilized, you just place another one there instead. What's also new to Uncharted Dungeons 2 is that you're gonna use the Cavern map, and any of these X's here are gonna show you where to place your monsters. So whenever you exit one of these dungeon cavern rooms, If you see one within line of sight, you'll place the monster there. All of the rooms are accessible in the Cavern map to all of the heroes. And so if you walk down any of these corridors and you turn a corner and possibly see one of the X's, you would then populate that monster. Also, what's new is whenever you draw a trap door, roll a red dice. The heroes immediately move to the room corresponding to the total number of rolled. Refer to the map above. Clarifications include the use of the legendary treasure deck. It's only used when specified by the quest card, and if a player draws a clue or objective card from the enemy's deck, he must immediately draw another enemy card unless the quest states otherwise. And lastly, if a player is currently in the corridor, draws a clue or objective card, that must be placed inside a room. Place an open door in the room closest to that hero, and the clue or object is then placed inside that room. I like that Lizuren has found a way to make all of your homebrew quest work by a few simple rules. All right, here we have the 12 quests that are included in the deck. So all of these have your quest goal. All 12 of these quests come with a goal, the board that you would use. Some of them do utilize the dungeons map, and the second quest would utilize the caves. The enemy cards, they'll tell you when to put the objective, 11 plus 2. And then the setup, they'll tell you where to put the stairway. Quest 1 tells you that you're going to place the stairway and a closed door in the dark green room on the dungeons map, and then shuffle the clue card randomly into the bottom 7 cards of the enemy's deck, and shuffle the objective card randomly into the bottom of the 3 cards of the enemy's deck. The wandering monster in this first quest is a skeleton. The backside includes the clue cards and the ancient key, and then the objective card, the Great Gate, and then the text that goes along with each of those. So as you're working your way through the quest of the Golden Lion, you have all of these laid out for you like you would inside of a quest book, with artwork and clue cards, everything you need to know to get started. I don't want to spoil anything for y'all. Here's a nice bit of artwork with the conclusion of the quest book. And then you also have all of the enemy cards. Let's take a look at these. These cards are going to show you which enemies to populate your dungeon with. So each one has a set of groups, group 1 and group 2, and they do cover all of the expansions that we've received thus far. We have Elven, we have Ice monsters, we have, of course, all the base game monsters in here as well. They added Mage of the Mirror, and so all of these will allow you to utilize all of the pre-existing content that you already have from Avalon Hill. Another thing that I think is really cool is the legendary treasure cards that are included in the quest, and these are all pieces of armor from Alaric that you go about collecting within the quest book. And of course, all of these artifacts can be equipped by our heroes, allowing you to have unique gameplay mechanics not found in the game system. Of course, there are some that the wizard can't put on and wear, the poor guy, but that's to be expected. Here you have the traps and secret door cards found in the system, and they're played in a unique way. Whenever the hero moves into a room, once they complete their movement, they would draw one of these cards to see if they trigger a trap. And then also if they were searching for secret doors, they would pull this card here, flip it over, and they would find nothing. Now, like I said before, what's new and unique in this one are these pit traps that he's included, as well as the swinging axe trap when you come into a doorway. Just adding some variability to the Uncharted Dungeons deck we already have. So you can easily shuffle these into your previous deck and use these as a way to expand your game system. And here we have the objective card that you would bury within your enemy's deck. And so as you would draw a certain number of enemies and enter a certain amount of rooms, you would eventually come across the objective to the quest, and this would then trigger that specific objective found on the back of the quest card. Like I said, it's very reminiscent to Warhammer Quest 1995, where you would have to shuffle up a certain number of corridors and rooms that you would draw upon before you would come across your quest objective. So here we have the bulk of the cards found in this deck, which are all of the room tiles that you would come across randomly within the Cavern's map. And so I can demonstrate here for you real quick by finding a 4x5 card. Here's one right here. And this 4x5 card, if we were to draw, would show us that heroes would enter either here or here within this room. Now there aren't any red arrows going out, so we wouldn't have any exit doors. Let's move a couple of our heroes into this room and I'll show you how we can populate the dungeon. Now, of course, obviously, if this was the first time I was moving into a corridor, I would look at the card to see where to populate any monsters that might be within my view. And right now there is one. And if this was a monster card that we had drawn, you can see here that group 2 has 2 orcs and group 1 has an ogre gray monster. It also gives you a basic AI here on how to move that orc when it's the monster's turn. So you can see here that one of them would move to an adjacent square farthest from the hero within 8, and then this one would be attacking a hero and then move to a square adjacent to the ogre. So let's drop our 2 orcs here. Utilizing the First Light standees, we'll grab the male version and then the female version here. She's going to ignore the monsters real quick, and we're going to go about populating the room here. Her line of sight only shows this door here, but if she had turned the corner or came from over here, we can place the other door here as another possible entrance to this room. So once she's in, we're going to populate. We do have an X here, so this would be another monster that would be dropped within this room. If we were going with group 2, we'd find an abomination. Not my favorite monster in the modern HeroQuest game system. I would have much rather have seen trolls, but it is what it is. There also is a treasure chest found in this corner. And you can see here we have a 3x1 furniture piece as well. So this we're going to roll on a chart. And here we go. As you can see from the chart, it does have the 1x3 up top in the first section, and then you have the larger furniture items on the next group of furniture. But right now our 5 means we'd place a fireplace. And there we have it. We've populated the room, we have our monster, we have all of our dungeon dressing. They would draw one of these cards to see if they trigger a trap. In this case, there would be a falling block trap right here. And then we can continue to play. And then we'd move our other heroes out as well to attack our monsters or to back up our elf. And that's how you would play Uncharted Dungeons 2 with the First Light Cavern board. So there are cards in this deck for every single room within the Cavern's map, including the real large one at the end of the table. As you can see here, these are those red arrows I was talking about, where if a hero entered from here or here, the red arrow would show you where the exit door is out of that room. And then you have red monsters as well as blue monsters. And if you look on your enemy's deck, it showcases the different groups, and then those X's would tell you which group of monsters that you would populate, some of which are multiples. We got a polar warbear, we have a yeti, giant wolf from Elven, you have 2 abominations in this one. So it is quite random, and it saves you the trouble of having to come up with these on your own when you're trying to dungeon dive solo one evening. It really makes for a fun gameplay experience. So in the end, I really enjoyed this simple gameplay mechanics found in this system. I do feel like it's a lot of fun playing solo. Oftentimes you might not have a party to play with, and you might have played through all of the quest with the First Light Cavern board, and you're wanting to just explore random scenarios and just roll some dice and have fun one evening. And I do feel like this system does get the job done. It's a lot of fun, it's unique in the way it's put together, and I enjoy the gameplay experience. If you don't have a copy of First Light, I highly encourage you to go out and pick one up. I really do enjoy the way that the rulebook was laid out in such a unique way that we hadn't seen before. Really modernizes the game, and it's just beautiful. It's a lot of fun, and I still haven't had a chance to get into this one with my son, but when we do, we're probably going to do it in its raw form with the standees and with the new miniatures, and not bringing in the 3D furniture from the base game system. I really want to experience this one how it was meant to be played. It's time to leave the safety of the tavern behind. Grab the new deck, lay out your new game board, and see where the trail leads. If you like what you see, please comment, like, and subscribe for more HeroQuest content. And if you'd like to support this channel, feel free to pitch in to buy me a coffee. Your support is truly appreciated as I continue to review new and exciting homebrew content from creators within the fandom. And who knows, maybe your game system will be next. As always, danger, you'll soon discover, lurks in every shadow. Come, let the homebrew quest begin.